Just as I had expected, the NFL bull-rushed their way through the season. Even if it's at the cost of the quality of a few games, there's a schedule to follow, damn it. Question their methods, but they did make it to the postseason. Now with an expansion pack adding 2 more teams to the fray. 14 of them are eager to win Lombardi. Let's take a look at them all. That magic horseshoe of luck has been shoved deep into this team's ass for most of the season. If you look at a lot of circumstances regarding this team, the fact that they even made it here is impressive. It mostly took 2 brutal losses by Houston's self-destruction and Jonathan Taylor emerging as a true bell cow to do it. However, when they have to play a sturdy contender in their weight class, it usually gets ugly. And they'll need some more luck for them to come out on top. But the Colts don't care. They have nothing to lose this time around. They're going to get Phillip Rivers his shot at the Super Bowl. Indy will just fuck it and go deep right into double coverage like Rivers does most times he throws. No risks, no reward. It's an interesting way to live life. Even the worthless black sheep of the family can end up doing something with his life. The Cleveland Browns, long held as the gold standard for ineptitude in the NFL, always dismissed with contempt, are finally back in the playoffs with a strong team. And all it took was the world going to complete shit for it to happen. The talent on the Browns has finally been complemented by depth and quality coaching. I know it's surprising to me as well. The shit show on wheels has removed most of the shit. Cleveland feels as if they are in a dream sequence, and I want them to keep that mentality. I know they haven't had consecutive practices in weeks. I know Baker is the epitome of hot and cold. The secondary has been dealing with injuries all year, and there are doubts they have the horsepower to keep up with the big boys. But I see a lot of the 2013 Pirates in this team. January is a novelty for them. All I say is soak it in. These feelings are very rare to experience, and they don't come back that often. Except when your head coach and several players get coronavirus and are going to be out for the game, then you curl up into a ball and die. Every goddamn year with this team, man. Tale of 2 teams. One a group that nearly blew their entire season in the winds of underachieving. The next one manages to play up to their potential on both sides of the ball. It's a combination of differences in the change. Some of it is a cakewalk schedule to win the year, some of it is reorganizing the offense to better suit strengths, but to me, there is one moment that was the impetus. The dump. In Week 14, Lamar Jackson had to take a massive shit during the Browns game. When he returned, the toilet messiah had risen. MVP form for Lamar to end the season and create momentum. The quality BM brought about a quality QB. Yes, you were really cramping. We all believe you, buddy. Everyone knows the key to rejuvenation is a good shit. Just embrace it. And win a playoff game this time, too. Behold, young one! The horde of King Henry approaches. For many years he has tormented the steppes with his brutal brand of tyranny. In countless villages, the same scenario is played out. He only speaks 4 words to the elders. Join me or die. Those that refuse, I cannot even begin to describe the horrors that occur. Derrick Henry will trample all those that have the misfortune of crossing his path. Poor Josh Norman. His family had to see that. Ryan Tannehill will unleash hellfire in the air on the poor souls huddled in their homes. A.J. Brown catching the touchdowns in their town square. If you're not careful, they will come for you. Just don't ask about their pass rusher weak secondary. It's a sore subject for them this season. They look threatening, but they have weaknesses. Build a big wall. That should do the trick against them. The march of the Yinzers returns with optimism flowing like Yingling. However, I fear that this team has punched well above their weight class for most of the year. Look past the surfaces of their impressive record and you will see a team full of blemishes and flaws. One of the most one-dimensional offenses in recent history. A quarterback suffering a steep decline. A linebacking core wrecked by injuries. An offensive line that isn't what it was. These are the Steelers of the current age. This team is going to have to be carried by defense if they are going to go far. And they know it. Whether it be by TJ Watt wrecking quarterbacks or the secondary locking down receivers is up to them. An 11-0 start has been tarnished by relentless struggles and regression to the mean. They've made it to the dance, but I have doubts that they'll actually step onto the floor. Courage often comes from strange places. It's still surreal to see a team that's not named New England at the top of the food chain in the AFC East. We might as well cherish it, since it will either be corrupted by a new evil or the old foe usurps this strange piece. My thinking with the Bills was that they were a quarterback away from achieving their true potential as a team. Guess what happened? Josh Allen became a magic beanstalk. He blossomed into a legitimate quarterback. No longer would he be bailed out by scrambling. He would throw the ball with precision. He would throw with efficiency. He would make us all eat shit. The glorified running back became a real boy. And was it needed? With a top-flight wideout in Stephon Diggs, the Bills' offense has become a legitimate machine in this time frame. However, the question is in team defense. There have been some holes in that front, but it's still sturdy. Signs point to them winning at least one playoff game this year. If they go further, well, that's up to them and them alone. Many are placing great expectations on them this time around. Don't let them down. With such a dominant record, the Chiefs should be all but locks for the Super Bowl. All of that talent on offense should be a done deal. But I'm not feeling this way. Not with how often they've stalled out in recent weeks. The thing is, I know they're capable of far more than this, but they seem to be off sync in most regards. The main thing holding back the Chiefs are themselves. We've seen what they can do at their peak. The problem is that it's been in very brief spurts this season. Those have been just enough to skirt by with wins most of the time, but against better competition, that's not going to pass the litmus test. I know championship ability is in there. We all have. The problem is if it's able to be unleashed in the red zone. Far too often they have been stopped by inferior opponents. They'll have to show us otherwise to bring us back to the flock. This is literally the worst case scenario for you. You stumbled into the playoffs due to a combination of incredible luck, an extra playoff spot, a ridiculously easy schedule to end the year, and the NFC West cannibalizing each other. I know Bears fans are going to defend this total mediocrity, but look at the future of your organization. The McCaskies will use this as an excuse to pretend that everything is fine. Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace will probably be staying put. They'll fool themselves into thinking Mitch Trubisky is a starting QB by playing bad defenses and extend him. Ted Phillips will still have a job unless, by some miracle, he retires. Nothing changes. And it's all because they lost 7 of 11 to end the year. Good work, Chicago. You played yourselves. That defense may be stout, but your offense is literally being carried by David Montgomery. Hope that extra playoff seat is worth it, because it won't be for your team in the end. I have no goddamn clue how to gauge the Rams as a team. From week to week, drive to drive, they are completely different teams. One game they'll come out with a really strong defense, dominating their foes and produce well offensively to look like true contenders. The next, they're losing to the fucking Jets and a battered 49ers team. This is the quandary of LA. They are a wild card in more than name. Jared Goff is dealing with a broken thumb and may not be at full strength. Even if he is Jim Everett 2.0 really that much of a game changer? Aaron Donald, you just hope, isn't triple teamed every snap so he can wreck all in his sight. They've done a lot better than I expected them to, but they have too many questions to fully trust. At least they aren't in the hell of bad contracts for the most part. Just the hell of being good, but not good enough. In baseball, there are the 3 true outcome players. Men that are the epitome of feast or famine at the plate. This is what the Buccaneers are as a team this season. They are either playing at a level that can get them to the Super Bowl or they falter at the most basic of objectives. Tom Brady is a bit uncomfortable in this new offense, since it forces him to take more defensive pressure than he ever received in New England. His receiving targets are either top-notch or invisible, and one of them may not be playing in the wildcard game. The team defense can be utterly dominant or giving up points en masse. They are a really hard team to decipher this time around, and that's why they are boom or bust. They're either going to hit a grand slam or whiff at the plate badly. Just one thing I ask. Do not have them cross paths with the Saints. The last 2 times they tried, they got obliterated to hell and back. And if they fail again, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near Mount Arians as he engulfs Brady in criticism. A world where the football team has taken tank division for themselves. It's as if the natives that cursed the team for years suddenly had a change of heart. You know what? They deserve something good to happen, they'll utter. The shaman of the Deadskins will lift the spell from Washington and allow a playoff berth. Yes, they don't deserve to be here. Yes, the offense has all the strength of a wet bag. Yes, they probably are getting the shit beaten out of them in the first round. But for once, can we hail the glory of the football team? Alex Smith, comeback player of the year, as an inspiration to us all. Ron Rivera beat the shit out of several cancers this season. Dan Snyder is portraying the Teflon owner, much to the chagrin of everyone. The defense, especially that front four, is formidable and hungry to upend the unsuspecting prey. It will be a miracle if they make it anywhere, but I think we can once again say it with pride. Hail to that Washington football team. As all the talking heads say, Chef Russ is cooking up something special this postseason. Now, if he executes it properly or overcooks it, that's to be determined. It's been a mixed bag for the Seahawks this season. When the offense is at peak, they look formidable. When it isn't, they look like the biggest bag of frauds this side of the hemisphere. More insidiously, they have a nasty habit of keeping their opponents in games for far too goddamn long. Their fans will beg them to finish off games earlier instead of giving them repeated heart attacks in the fourth quarter. But they sneer at the poor souls beneath them and say, "Nah, we're good." As the hospitals overflow and they escape an easily winnable game by 4. I was going to make this really tired, lazy joke about how terrible the defense has been this year, but it's gotten its shit together as of late. It's congealed into a sturdy unit. They don't try to be anything they're not, and it's made them much more formidable in play. Now, if it can stay this way or turn back into a group on pace to give up the most passing yards in NFL history is up to fate to decide. If they can't, they can always just chuck it to DK Metcalf. This is your last chance. There is no more pressing issue for the Saints than to win a championship in what will most likely be Breeze's ride off into the sunset. He may not be anywhere near what he was, but the team around him will rally to his war cry. Just don't throw the ball to the guy Janoris Jenkins is covering. For the love of God, don't do that to New Orleans again. Despite the only team they've routinely dominated being Tampa Bay, they're still considered favorites for the NFC. But that will have to rely on a fully healthy slant boy in Michael Thomas. If he's back to peak form after his injury-plagued year, it'll be more surprising than Drew Brees throwing a ball more than 15 yards. Despite the weapons this offense goes through Alvin Kamara, and his versatility will be the only way they go far. Just ride him until the wheels fall off and he better be able to play in the first round. I spent many months questioning the logic of the Packers. Why would they draft a quarterback in the first round when they had holes that needed immediate attention? Why draft a running back when Aaron Jones just had a breakout year? Now I understand their intentions. They wanted to unleash the dragon. Disturbed from his slumber of complacency, Aaron Rodgers has arisen from the ashes to lay waste to everything in his path. He is pissed, and he will make sure the world knows it. Like a phoenix rising in a fury of light, his peak form has reemerged to ensure the NFC's destruction. He has developed a fascination with black magic, and his flirtation with the dark arts has led to his powers being strengthened tenfold. To hell with David Bakhtiari's injury, to hell with Dom Capers Redux running the defense. Aaron will have his second ring, and he will punish everything that stands in his way. If his team fails him again, or God forbid one of his receivers drops a dime of his, all I can say is that I hope they have a good life insurance policy. A postseason without a capacity crowd. It's a first for everything, isn't there? Maybe this will also be the first time I get a prediction right. The matchup will be Buffalo against Green Bay in a Super Bowl to the death. My sincere apologies to these teams, as you are probably fucked in the near future.
21 years, that's how long it's just been turning for my guy Andy Reid. It's just been turning and turning and turning. And what we do, we unleash a can of whoop-ass on everybody. 24-0. I ain't trying to hear it. Down 10, I ain't trying to hear it.